As of filming this video, about 250,000 of you have watched my recent hour-long sit-down with Colin Moriarty from Rubin Report YouTube Week. Colin is best known as a gaming journalist and as one of the founders and hosts of Kinda Funny, a popular gaming talk show. I actually didn't know much about Colin before our YouTube Week chat, beyond just a couple interactions that we had had on Twitter. My intention with the interview was to get away from politics for a change and focus on my long-lost love of video games, but within about a minute, I could tell how passionate Colin was about current events and the political world. Sometimes in an interview, you expect one thing, but you get something totally different, and in Colin's case, this was the best route that this thing could have gone. Right after the interview, I told Colin that he could be a major conservative political star if he ever wanted to go that route in life. A few days after our initial interview, Colin's world went completely bonkers. Colin posted a rather benign joke on Twitter on International Women's Day. Let's take a look. Peace and quiet. Hashtag a day without a woman. The tweet got thousands of retweets and favorites, but of course also caused backlash by the bigoteers always looking for something new to be outraged by. By the way, the joke itself, as Colin has said, isn't the smartest or funniest thing ever. It's actually a really simple line that every sitcom, from I Love Lucy to Married with Children to Everybody Loves Raymond, has been based on. Regardless of whether it was funny or not, a firestorm of outrage began, and within a couple days, Colin stepped down from Kinda Funny, the company he co-owned and the show he co-created with his friends. Regardless of whether the joke was funny or sexist or just stupid, which are all subjective feelings, the point is that the out-of-control firestorm was once again on the attack. The online gaming media jumped all over Colin, and in one case, claiming he had gone on a right-wing talk show known as the Rubin Report to discuss the tweet. Of course, in reality, we had taped and aired the show about a week before he even posted the tweet in the first place. The worst case of this journalistic dishonesty came not from a gaming site, though, but from a mainstream outlet, the International Business Times. Let's look at this headline. Kinda Funny's Colin Moriarty resigns after targeting women in a racist joke. Insists it's his personal decision. To say this is beyond the pale doesn't even begin to describe it. This social justice warrior disease, combined with a pinch of intersectionality and a sprinkling of misguided outrage, has a mainstream publication accusing Colin of racism where there literally was not a word of racism in the tweet. Eventually, I was able to track down an editor of IB Times who I passed along to Colin, and they changed the headline about 24 hours later. Too little, too late, though, and the damage was done. Just imagine if that had been you for a moment. This is what I mean when I say that this regressive movement will come for all of us one day. I suspect that it's coming for private citizens for Wrong Think Next. We'll just have to wait and see. After all of this nonsense, I did a second interview with Colin, which we live streamed out to you guys with no editing to clean up the mess. Colin respectfully and honestly told his side of the story without throwing his friends and former coworkers under the bus. We also took a ton of questions from you directly and shared a really intimate moment of friendship on camera. When the interview finished, I truly felt that we had done something relevant and important. Together, we stood up against the outrage machine, against the misguided social justice movement, and more importantly, we stood up for something, for ourselves. And if we won't stand for ourselves, then why would anyone else stand for us? Now, this is where this really gets good. Last week, Colin launched his own Patreon to fund his new show, aptly titled Colin's Last Stand. As of this taping, he has over $30,000 a month in pledges. That's more than we have, and I am completely okay with that. I'm beyond thrilled for him as a creator, but more so as a friend. It was only about 10 days ago that he had dinner here at my house and thought that his career might be over. And I've been in that same boat myself. Not only did Colin launch an incredibly successful Patreon, but he's also made some stellar appearances on Glenn Beck's radio show and last week on Joe Rogan's podcast. I mention all of this because I view this whole instance as a massive win for the free speech anti-regressive movement. We can no longer give these hysterical people an inch because they won't stop taking until we've all silenced ourselves. Obviously, many of you see this and agree with it, which is not only why our interviews did so well, but why so many of you put your money where your mouth is and join Colin on Patreon. And by the way, I should welcome our new patrons as well because we got a bump in the midst of all this craziness too. This isn't about money, though. It's about taking back the narrative from people who use buzzwords and outrage to silence the rest of us who are trying to have meaningful conversations. Allies are popping up all over the place in this space, and it's only together that we can fully fight back the bad ideas which have led us here. From Colin to Joe Rogan to Phil DeFranco and many others, I see a new alliance forming of content creators who aren't political per se, but who will no longer be held hostage by the same outrage machine that's crushing dissent, not through conversation, but by public shaming. We must now destroy the politics of destruction if we're going to move forward. I think we just got our first major win, and I look forward to you joining us for many more.